Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I am joined tonight with a very special guest. I've got Megan. Hello, Mego.
Hey Parker, how are you?
Doing quite well, doing quite well. So, we had some shocking stuff happen over the last couple of days. One of which being, yeah, apparently this Lloyd Evans scandal has gotten outside of the Jehovah's Witness community, the ex-Jehovah's Witness community. People that don't know anything about us or what we're about are talking about this massive sex scandal because that's what it is. Um, and like, did you hear about this?
Yes, I did, and I saw the video.
Hot take. Like, your first impression. What did you think? Did you see the couple, like the guy and the girl?
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
So, my first impression, well, I didn't know if it was gonna be like agreeing with us. I thought maybe they were gonna say something for some reason when Lloyd puts it in our heads, right, that we're all some crazy bullies, like even though we know we're not, we think everyone's gonna like come and attack us when they make these types of videos. So at first I was like, I wonder what they're gonna say, and I wanted to pay attention because of that.
Right, right. Like Lloyd kind of got into our heads a little bit and is like, well, is it like a big deal or not? Like I could totally see like if you weren't paying attention because he's got a very manipulative way about him, that you could be like, well, maybe this isn't any of my business. Like he totally minimized the whole thing, but we're gonna get
Hmm.
into that a little bit. Let me go ahead and play because it's actually my video that they are doing commentary on. And
Hmm.
I want to say I apologize. This is going to be a reaction to a reaction to a reaction video. All right, so all right. Here they
Hola
are. Their
amigos,
channel
we are
name
back
is
again with
Ashton
another
and John, and
reaction
they're reacting to
video.
the video that I
Today, can
put
I get a
out
drum roll,
called
please? Today we're gonna be reacting to the Lloyd Evans sex scandal is our business. Like, I mean,
Before I go any further, I'm going to share the screen for, well, you'll be able to hear it, I think.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay. You can hear it already?
No.
All right, here you go. Window. Here we go. Okay. And I want to skip
this
forward
is by the channel
to the
Fateful
part that's
Slave.
most relevant. I'm not going to
The
make
link
you
is down
guys
below in the description.
watch a reaction
I'm
video to a
really
reaction video
kind
to a
of
reaction
at
video.
a
That's
loss for
just
words
extreme.
for everything that's going on and
Let's go to the
lighting, the
parts that are
cameras, like,
really good.
so it's like it kind of is all around, but prostituting, that's a whole different thing.
Right, dude. Oh my god. Who would have thought with this guy? I never would have thought. He's just like kind of like a little bit of a chubby guy who talks about religion, right?
Oof.
Yeah, holy cow.
That's
Yeah.
some horseshit.
So, just average people are kind of shocked by his behavior. That's
Yeah.
interesting. I thought it was only judgy elder types that were saying things about Lloyd and his 4 year long escapades with sex workers in various
Hmm.
countries where sex trafficking is a big deal. But anyways, all right, let's move on to the other part.
Wife left him. You hear stories all the
Let's go
time.
back.
A sex addict. And that's not my words, as we'll see in a moment. Those are his words.
I really hope that his wife left him. You hear stories all the time, but that's like really unforgivable. That's like way out
Yes,
there.
that is like the worst of the worst when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
Oof, that's kind of harsh.
Yep.
Megan, what do you think? Do you think they're just being judged elder type? What's going on here?
Not at all. They're reacting the way normal people react when they hear of something so grotesque. Like, you would never ever want your family member or loved one or friend to be with someone like Lloyd. Like, if that was your sister or your best friend or whatever, like, you'd be like, my God, get the heck out. And if you can empathize at all, like, I understand exactly when she started saying that. Like, that was one of the first things I thought. Like, I freaking hope Deanna. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. And in fact, like I have not thought about it in those terms yet. Yeah, if this was somebody you knew that this guy was doing this to, you would absolutely like be outraged and say something about it.
Oh yeah.
Damn. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. There's another part that I wanted to show the audience tonight so that they can be the judge, so that they can adjudicate. All right.
Yes. I don't understand some people when they're sitting here like trying to be open and honest about things, and then they're like going in circles about like these little, like you're throwing yourself under the bus. You're digging this hole deeper and deeper and deeper. You're literally not even using the right wording. Not that I would need to. Wouldn't you think you'd be like, not that I would want to?
Right.
Why use those words? Like, it's just.
Yeah. I love that.
I know. Well, he just sounded so like smug about what he did. Like he's just like he's trying the whole point that he was making for them to like respond in that way was like, oh, like it's not that I was going very often. She says I was going frequently and all this stuff, and he's trying to be like, oh, like it's minimizing, like it's not a big
Yes.
deal at all.
He was
Like this is just
absolutely minimizing.
and it sounds so gross. So he's like minimizing, like, oh, it's not a big deal. And then he's like, it's not that I would need to, as if like, because if I did need to, I would, because it's not a big deal at all.
Yeah, yeah, the whole thing is like minimizing, and that's I think that's what she was trying to say there, is that like this is supposed to be a heartfelt sort of apology video, really. Like if you were really remorseful about all this, if it really upset you what you've done and you want to change, like you'd be like groveling and apologizing and not constantly minimizing and joking around and laughing about the stuff. Like
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
so
complete
gross.
opposite of like what you would expect somebody if they actually felt bad about what they did, right?
If they had any like ounce or shred of empathy in their body, like how could you come on there? Like he humiliated his wife so much by how he behaved throughout this whole thing.
Yeah, his whole
Like,
family, but then he blames it on Kim and he blames it on the community and everything, all this shame.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, he doesn't take any responsibility at all. Like I've never seen someone display such textbook narcissistic behavior. Like it was just incredible watching that video because if you're not paying close attention to what he's saying, like he's so good at projecting onto you that you can actually think you're the bully, right? And
Yeah.
then when you're listening to him though, if you can pick through all the fluffy words, like he uses all these big words trying to make himself sound like he's just so clued in to how things are, but when you really listen to what he's saying, like dude, behind all those fluffy words, you're literally not making any sense. You're making no points. You have no leg to stand on. Like you should, like you said, he should have been apologizing. He just sounds like he just doesn't care about what anybody else thinks.
Kind of
It's no one's
saintly Brandon
yeah,
who has total mastery over his penis.
yeah. It's no one's business where I put my dick. And it's like, well, then why the heck are you on here telling
Right.
everybody then?
For
Like,
attention or something. I don't
yeah,
know.
even that part of it, like I don't even think he's bothered by all the negative attention so long as it's attention. Like he's just so messed up. Like I,
Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Because there is another video that is not XJW related, and I'm gonna see if I can play it for you real quick. All right, so this dude, it's his channel name is Tipster.
Hey, I have a fascinating cringy sex scandal plus
Can you
YouTube
hear it?
confession apology stream. My
Cringy
enjoy
sex scandal.
backstory. The guy is ex-Jehovah's Witness and spent
It
10
is.
years as an anti-cult activist. He does this full time with financing from viewer donations, Patreon, and merch sales. He did a lot of collabs with other activists who donated their work and time to help the cause. Well, one of their colleagues spills the beans that he's been cheating on his wife using sex workers. When his wife found out, he went on a 3-week sex holiday to Thailand and told his audience it was a mental health break. His colleagues blew the whistle and he reacted with this amazing drunken confession apology live stream,
God.
where he gained nearly
They think he's
3K
drunken. You
in
think he was
super
I mean, he
drunk?
chats.
does seem a little off
Since his
in that
live,
video,
he's
but
lost over 1K subscribers and over
brutal.
200 Patreons. But he says this is the result of a defamation campaign for people reposting his confession and laughing at him. He sent 12 dodgy emails to a
Dodgy.
YouTuber threatening to sue them for covering it. This is his original confession apology stream. This is the same stream, but heavily edited to avoid the dead air, unnecessary gaps. Maybe we'll take a look at that. This is an excellent commentary video on it. We won't check that out.
Ooh, is that
Also,
my link? I wonder
been
if that's my
threatening to
link.
sue people who've spoken
That
out
would be
about him.
so cool.
So, we'll start here. We're not going to watch the whole stream, obviously, but we'll start here and we'll watch
And
a
we're
little
not
bit
going
of
to
it.
watch all of your stream
And
either. I
then
promised we
the
wouldn't
bit
do a
about them
reaction
threatening to
within
sue
a
people.
reaction
We'll
within
take
a
a look at that, too.
reaction. But here we
There
are.
we go.
The channel.
Let me pause this. Okay.
Ready, set,
Okay, well, there's that.
express.
That'll end that.
Yeah.
All right, so there it is. You've got
2 videos.
at least 2 huge channels. I mean, I think both of those channels have like plus 200K thousand subscribers or some crap like that. But yeah, and they're not being they're not holding back any punches. They're not pulling any punches with this guy.
No.
So
No.
I think that goes to show that you don't have to be a judgy ex-Jehovah's Witness to find something wrong with what this guy did.
It's so wrong.
And it's crazy that we have to say that, right?
Yeah, no, it should be pretty evident.
Yeah. We wanted to talk a little bit about morality, because it's kind of seeming like once a Jehovah's Witness leaves the organization, they don't for a long time know how to find their way as far as good and bad, right and wrong. I mean, I think there's like this time period where you're like, well, the religion was all bullshit, so I can basically do whatever I want, and anybody who gives me any gripe for it, well, they're just being judgy. And it's like, is that really the worldview that you're going to come away with after leaving the cult? Because, damn, I feel like there's plenty of room in between that and, like, being a saint who's judgy. Like, you can find a middle ground there somewhere and not be a complete piece of shit, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah, no, a lot of people leave and they go completely haywire. And I don't get why that is. Like, I don't understand why. You're free now, so like you can do anything. Why do literally the gutter? Like, I
Right,
go
right.
straight to the gutter, and like I don't get it. But
And
yeah,
to be
it's
fair,
okay.
like, I think we all had a little bit of a party phase. I mean, that's one thing, you know, you don't have these
Yeah.
rules anymore and these people on your back, but like, there's a big difference between that and I'm gonna cheat on my wife for 4 years with prostitutes. I mean,
Mhm. Well, okay, here's the thing though. Here's the thing about that. One of the things that Lloyd said in his video was that he's basically trying to like blame the upbringing of the cult because he somehow like got into this life with his marriage because of the cult. Like, it brought him and his wife together. And he tries to like blame it on the cult as if for the last however many years he's been bound to stick to his wife. And, you know, it's all the cult's fault. So it's like he's trying to say he deserves to be able to do this because him and his wife aren't compatible in that
yeah,
way. And like, and it's so weird because it's like, listen, that would be, you know, him wanting to go and have more partners. Well, then freaking end it with your wife. Like,
yeah,
if you, that's how it boils down to. Like, if you don't want to be with your wife, then leave her. But the fact that he kept her there and lied about it shows it's got nothing to really do. Like, his wife obviously gives him something he likes, probably just the fact that he lives there and she takes care of his kids and she does whatever for him, right? Like,
housekeeper.
so Yeah, so he's just like, oh, I'll keep her here and not tell her that I'm going out with other women, and I'll blame it on the cult when I get caught. And it's like, dude, your level of like awareness about right and wrong is so low.
It's
Like,
non-existent.
it's non-existent.
Through
Like,
that
that is
video, like
disgusting.
it's hard to tell that he has any idea what he did was wrong at all, you know. He says, "I had my sexuality hijacked." It's like, dude, that was you've been out for like over 10
Everybody,
years, man.
everybody, like any of us could say that. Like,
Right.
literally any of us could say that. And it's like, okay, so what? If you didn't want to be bound to your wife, then freaking leave her when you found out, when you found out you were, in a bad marriage or whatever. And he's
Right.
just like,
Because what
you
is it
know,
that's so he doesn't have any moral hiccups about sleeping with prostitutes in
no,
heavily sex trafficked areas
no,
for 4 years behind his wife's back. That's fine. He can do that for years. And by the way, that takes a lot of self-deception or
no.
something to be able to pull off for that long. And how long, okay, this is something I haven't thought about either. That whole time, like he was pretending everything was fine. He was kissing his wife. He was like,
Yeah,
probably telling her he loved her.
yeah,
And like
for
this
sure.
is the thing that like people don't quite get it when we emphasize the fact that he did this for years. It's like that is a big deal because I mean, all right, nobody in his video he's like nobody's perfect, like minimizing it.
Yeah,
It's like, okay,
like
yeah,
as if
true, but
everybody just goes and does this. Like, come on, dude.
and
This
for
is
four
the worst of the
years,
worst. For 4 years, yeah. And he
like
goes on, this is not many years. Many
many
years.
years.
Oh, libelous.
Yeah. So like I
What?
mean, even if you want to, turn the other cheek to somebody who just messed up, cool, whatever, that's between you and your partner. But this dude habitually did this crap for 4 years, like every 2 to 3 months. Like
Mhm. Yeah,
this
he goes on
this
two to
is a
3 months.
character indicator
Yeah,
if I've ever seen one,
yeah. Yeah,
right?
no, for sure. He's totally, totally horrendously selfish.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even see it. It's just hilarious and he always thinks that the reason this kind of stuff happens to him is because everyone's jealous of him. Another thing that is just textbook narcissism, like the DSM,
You're
literally.
just jealous.
Yeah, he thinks everybody is against him because of his, and he's just like, I quite frankly don't like XJWs. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, so now that
I've really had it up to here
yeah,
with you
I've really had up to here.
XJWs.
And it's like, well, now that everybody has done a video on it, are you gonna be like, I quite frankly don't like the YouTube community?
Right, that
Like,
yes, he's gonna have to move up to the next rung there because you're right. He's turned away everyone he's ever worked with, to my knowledge. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but it seems like every single person who's got to know him even a little bit can't
mhm,
fucking stand him,
it's
you
true. I've
know?
heard the same thing. Yeah.
Because like to consume Lloyd, you can only consume those 2.5 hour long videos where he's carefully crafting and scripting what he's saying. That's like he can control how he's perceived. That live stream was a rare glimpse into the real Lloyd.
Yeah, probably. Hey, I never thought about that before either. But I mean, it could have just been that he's really this pathetic and clumsy with words and just, edits it so that it's perfect. Who
Well,
knows?
yeah, and I also think that he had like a PR team that
Yeah.
kind of went over his stuff, especially if he was gonna like ad lib and everything and be like, that's probably not something you want to put out there, rephrase that or whatever. I think that maybe he used to have a team like that because that live stream was so candid and so despicable,
It was
like
so bad. Like, this is what's so crazy is like nobody who isn't a narcissist would be able to make that live stream because you would recognize, like, first of all, you wouldn't say the things that he said in it if that would just not happen. But like,
it's
yeah,
definitely like a manipulative angle to
yeah,
everything he did there.
yeah, yeah, he just has to be a narcissist. Like, there's just no way ifs, ands, or buts around it. Like, he just behaves so horribly, minimizing, blame shifting, projecting everything he does onto other people, assuming
Yeah.
everyone's jealous. Like, everything, and then getting attention for it on top of it and getting money for it on top of it.
Oh,
The
yeah.
fake crying, the fake crying.
The victim play, like he tried to play the victim so hard.
And let me be clear, I am not happy about what I did to Deanna,
I
but
hate,
if I should
I
need
hate
more
what I
later.
did. And then like he's like grooving. Some people said that like he's not grooving, he's just like he's just swinging his feet under his chair, which
I mean,
even still, that to me that shows somebody who's just like really just chill, you know? He's like, I don't know. It just kind of it was an indicative of a mood to me that didn't seem to fit the
his
gravity
body
of
language was weird. His body language was weird.
it.
But
Was really weird.
yeah.
I prepared some thoughts here that I wanted to get out on morality. Because you know, even if you have no spiritual beliefs at all, if you don't have any, if you're not in a religion, whatever, I feel like you can still come to a sense of right and wrong and morality, even using secular terms. You know what I mean? You
For
know,
sure.
like, so for me, it's very simple. I mean, I do think that spirituality helps because, like, in my opinion, it's like that extra push to do the right thing even when nobody's looking or
Mhm.
no one will find out. You know what I mean? But putting that aside for a second, it comes down to like what kind of world would we live in if every man mirrored Lloyd's behavior,
Oh my God.
right?
Yeah.
That's honestly for me what morality is all about. Like you were thinking about, okay, if everyone in the fucking world, especially men, if every man in the world acted like me in this moment, what kind of world would that be? And in Lloyd's case,
I wouldn't want to.
um, they're like every woman around the world would be having their hearts broken and their trust broken on a daily basis.
Mhm.
Um, and sex trafficking would not just be a problem, it would be ubiquitous and pervasive throughout
Oh,
every level of society. It would be like the king empire of the world. It'd probably be it, if every man in the world was like Lloyd, I imagine sex trafficking would be legal. It would be an honorable field, just like everybody's trying to make prostitution out to be such a great field of work now.
oh, it's
um
yeah, it's true. Yeah, it so would be.
yeah, I mean, that's just like the kind of stuff that I've been thinking about. And like, that's why I think it's important to call out this behavior when you see it,
Mhm.
because isn't it the scrutiny that keeps this stuff from becoming commonplace? Isn't it what scrutiny
Well,
the thing?
well, see, the thing is, there's cancel culture that exists, and they claim that they're canceling things for their good reason to stomp it out of society. Well, why are we like propping up child sex trafficking and prostitution and like trying to cancel things that, I mean, I don't even get half the things that they try to
Yeah,
cancel.
like somebody will tell like a joke on Netflix and have people just like go for their throats and have them removed from a
Yeah,
platform. But
yeah,
yet we are talking about how honorable the prostitution field is, and it's
yeah.
riddled with sex trafficking. I mean, like,
And people just defending him, like so many in the community were, not so many, but there was enough.
I mean, it is a lot,
It
especially in the beginning.
Yeah, it was really shocking to me. I was like, okay, like I get that they just didn't want to see Lloyd, right? He manipulated them into thinking that, oh, you're just a bully if you make fun of me for this. Like this isn't making fun of you, although there's plenty of things people could do if they wanted to do that. This isn't it. This
And
is
we
calling
probably will.
out this is calling out like ridiculously horrendous, disgusting behavior that just shouldn't be happening. Like,
Yeah,
and Kim did the right thing, letting
sure.
people know, because it'd be one thing like if this was some guy who just kind of lived a quiet life otherwise, wasn't all over YouTube, wasn't collecting donations from people all over the world, wasn't getting rich off of this, that would be one thing. And then, if their friend went on to try to blast them online to their like friends or whatever, yeah, it would, that person still shouldn't have done that, but maybe then it would be weird to blast this person because like, what are you doing? You're just bringing it to the attention of people who don't even know this person. But when it's someone who's a public figure in the way Lloyd is and literally takes money from people to advance his work, she had to inform people. This
Yeah.
isn't just some guy who nobody knows and is not impacting the lives. Like, he actually was working with child sex abuse victims and at the same time having sex and paying for sex with child sex abuse victims.
Yeah.
Like, he's
Which
just
let's be
continuously
100%
re-victimizing.
real. Yeah, he was not vetting those girls. Like he was not. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. I don't see a dude who admits he doesn't have mastery over his penis, who's an admitted sex addict,
Yeah.
who thinks that none of this is a big deal. I just don't see him going, now I need to see documentation of
Yeah.
your age before we proceed. Like I don't see that from this
He's
guy.
not doing it. There's no
Sorry.
way. He's so unscrupulous as it is. Like, he has no morals as it is. There's no way that he
Right.
cares about this arbitrary age standard that's set, by like,
Yeah.
it's different all over the world, this age standard. So he
Yeah.
doesn't care about that. If he doesn't even care about his wife, so much as that he'll go and bring home STDs to her from random women, then he is not vetting these women for their age. No way in heck.
I think the age of consent in Thailand is like 14.
Yeah, so he's
Oh,
just,
it's 15. Sorry, my bad.
yeah, oh, it's so much better, so much better.
So,
Yeah. No, he's just going there to be a pig, essentially. Like, I'm sorry, like, there's no other way to put this. He has a wife, he has two daughters. What is he teaching his daughters? Like, his poor daughters, a
mm,
man with little girls doing this. Like,
you know
I'm
what?
sorry, it's just so gross.
That's a really good point because, like, he even said in his video, because of you, Kim, my children are going to check the internet one day to find out what people are saying about their dad. Like, knowing that, that video should have been nothing but groveling over the grave
Yeah,
indiscretion and, like, fucked
yeah.
up shit that he did.
How he
Like, because, yeah,
humiliated
they
the
are going to
mother.
be looking at the internet and they're going to see you minimizing this shit.
Yep. And they're gonna be like, oh, good to know that there's men out there when they're like early teenagers. Good to know there's men out there who want to like do this to me. Like, it's fucking just gross.
Yeah. And he's still got, like, over 600 patrons. Somehow. I don't know, but whatever.
To be honest, I don't know. I'm hoping that the reason that's the case is people have like forgotten that they're a patron or something.
Either that or there's just like this whole like
This whole little Lloyd cult.
yeah, well there I mean that's obviously the case, but I think it's a deeper problem that I think it's just like it's like something about humanity right now. Like people just don't know how to navigate right and wrong anymore. So they're
Yeah,
just kind of like doing whatever feels good at the moment, you know? Like somebody says a joke on like Dave Chappelle tells a joke and they're like all pissed, but then they like support some dude who's been doing this shit, you know, like I don't
yeah, it's
know,
really
but
weird. It's very weird. It's very
that's
weird. I don't get it.
yeah, and that's why I wanted to do this video because like we got to get back to thinking about I don't know, morality, I guess, you know? And it's like it's not like I'm perfect either. Like I'm far from perfect. But, you know, like, especially the last couple of years, like, I've really been trying to do the very best, even when no one's watching, to be a person that if I was every man in the world, it would actually be a better place. Like, wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, no, that's actually a really cool way to look at it too. Like,
Yeah. Well, thank
just like, yeah, no, just like thinking about how if you could somehow emulate, I don't know, somebody who would you want that to be? What kind of person would you want that to be? And yeah, you want it to
and
be,
also, you know this, like, the vibes that you put out there, they multiply and they echo. And I mean, you know,
totally.
the little things they grow into big things.
Hmm.
I mean, you're old enough to have experienced that in your life, I'm sure. I mean, I know I have.
Yeah.
You know, you let some things go, or you just don't pay attention to some things, and then next thing you know, you've got this massive problem because you didn't, you weren't paying
Yep.
attention. But
Yep. For sure.
anyways, I think that's almost everything I wanted to cover. Oh, I did want to say that humor is great for also like I think mo I think mockery is actually sometimes not a bad thing. Like I know a lot of people kind of today are like kindness all the time, but I don't think that tolerance is always a kindness. I think there are some times when tolerance has to stop. Like people cross lines, right? And we know this is true because we have a justice system. Like if kindness was always the answer in the typical sense, then we wouldn't need a justice system. Like, we would just be like, oh, well, kindness is the answer. Oh, you took my children. Oh, kindness is the answer. Oh, like, am I wrong? Like,
No, it's really funny because it's just like, could you imagine if you're right, like if people who are all like, oh, be kind, stop saying this about Lloyd, if it was them who could like rule the world, yeah, man, we would have a lot of bad shit happening.
it'd be like Seattle. I just read the headline that Amazon is pulling all their employees out of
Yeah,
Seattle because
I was
it's a shit
thinking that.
show and there's so much violence and
Oh, when I was saying that, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, I couldn't remember the city, but I remember the
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 article
article.
that I sent you. Yeah.
Which city was that? It would be like that city.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man.
Do you believe in karma?
Yep.
Sorry, I
Yep.
didn't mean to put you on the spot like
No,
that, but
but that's okay. But just let me. Yeah, no, I definitely do. I mean, I've seen it play out in my own life, so I know it's a thing. And I don't mean negative karma. Like, not everything's negative, but if you kind of like analyze things that happen to you sometimes, and think about things that happened to you in the past, and think about how maybe what's happening to you right now is like what you did to somebody sometimes, or like it could be a good thing too. It's just
hmm
really, really interesting because I've seen it play out multiple times in my own life. So I definitely believe it. Definitely.
I just thought while you're saying that about how kind of a manifestation of real karma that you can measure is think about how the decisions that you make as a father or a mother,
Hmm.
how those will significantly affect your children,
Yeah.
right? So like that karma isn't necessarily that I'm talking about in this situation isn't necessarily affecting you, but it definitely is going to affect your children in the sense that like, you know, what kind of legacy are you leaving behind and I don't know. I think that that's kind of like a very real because I know with my parents, the decisions they made definitely affected me as far as like the whole religion goes. Like um, every aspect of my life was kind of tainted, or tainted might be a strong word, but it
Hmm.
was definitely impacted by the way I was raised, the things that I was
Oh, for sure.
being taught.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So like so I think that like that's kind of an example of karma, even if it's kind of a little bit different than the traditional version of it. But I think that like that kind of gives you an insight into like how life works. Like your decisions matter,
Hmm.
you know.
Definitely. Well, and the thing is everybody is just forgotten. It seems like this has been going on for a little while now. And there is a specific year that it seemed to get really bad, not that long ago. But ethics has just kind of got thrown out the window. Like, there is no more thought or care at all in the world about ethical, you know, ways of behaving, like how
It's
to make a
considered
decision.
old-fashioned.
Yeah, but it's weird though, because I mean, really, every single decision, there's never two situations that are the same, right? it requires thought. Like it requires you to think about everything surrounding that to make a decision that's right for this, particular case. And nobody like thinks about any of that anymore.
We were just talking about this not long ago that there's there's like a decline in thoughtfulness, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh, like big time. Nobody thinks about anything. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I take too long to think about things, and you could accuse me of being indecisive, but at least I friggin' think about things, like I don't just
Yeah.
go with the wind and blow around with whatever other people are saying. And it seems like today there's just so much of that. People don't think about much. They just kind of go along from one thing to the next and
Yeah.
whatever the trend is. And, you
Herd
know,
mentality.
yeah, it's very insane. And I think that like connects in with this, you know, with all of this in a way.
Yeah.
Because like Lloyd put that video out there, and the people that really admired him just went along with the crowd, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, he bullied, poor Lloyd. Nobody actually thought about what he was admitting to, and he used that minimization tactics to really mess with your mind. But like, come on, like think about this a little bit. Like this is so wrong. This is even more wrong than a guy doing this who doesn't have his position. Because he has his position on top of it, it just makes it way more wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you
Somebody
know?
once said that because people were like, oh, it's not like he's an elected official or something, but when you think about it, in a way, he's kind of an elected XJW authority because,
He's put himself in that position actually himself.
yeah, well, yeah, I mean, he certainly allowed it to happen,
Over
you
the
know?
years, but over the years he almost put himself in there because he like actively went after people who were getting
Mm,
popular to like, do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah. And then he created like a bad name for them, and like he would like actively target certain people that he didn't like or that he thought would be, I think,
Anybody who goes against his ideas
yes. And
or
so
has a different way than his.
yeah. And he just made himself that authority again without even realizing how culty and narcissistic that was. He just made himself that authority.
Yeah,
And it's just really, and people just went along with it. Nobody thought about what he was actually doing.
but they
How
are
wrong.
starting to wake up. Like
Hmm.
a lot of these people who, even if you watch that live stream of his back now and you see the people commenting support for him, a lot of those people now are talking shit about him. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe that I defended him. Like, I
Oh,
had some time to think about it, and wow, what was I thinking, you know?
oh, that's really good. That's good to hear because it seemed like a lot of people at first were like buying into his spiel.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that's good to hear. I do remember one lady um, in one of the groups. Can't remember. I think it was the BAA group or whatever. Saintly Brandon's Bar and
Saintly
Grill.
Brandon's Bar and Grill.
Anyway, so one lady commented in there about how she watched your video, like the first one that they were commenting on. Anyway, she was saying that she watched your video and it changed her mind about the whole thing because she was at first kind of like, oh, stop talking about Lloyd. And sometimes it just takes, some other like opinions to get out there into the consciousness for people to like realize like, oh yeah, wait a minute.
Well, yeah, it's a process, right? It's a dialogue that we're having. Like he invited us to judge him, to be the judge. So I think it's a good thing that we actually talk this through. And that's what I said in my very first video. It's like we need to unpack this because this is actually kind of huge.
It
And like
is.
it does affect all of us. Like he is the figurehead, whether we like it or not. He's the most popular, the most prominent, the most shared XJW on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
we need to talk about this shit. And I think that like even just in our discussion right now that we've had, we've like discussed angles of this that nobody has said out loud that I'm aware of, you know. And
Yeah.
one of these points could be the thing that helps somebody be like, you know what? I realize that I was defending him, but nah, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, really, because I honestly don't understand how anybody could defend him. I listened to his video twice when he put it up the first time, and then um, a little while ago, and then it got taken down. Now, the first time there was a little bit of like, okay, what's this about? Like, because he started off right away about how like he was forced to come on here. He would rather not talk about this, but he has to like
Mm-hmm.
talk about it, right? And I'm like, okay, so what are people saying that he has to come on and discuss? He didn't have to come on and discuss anything. He just, I don't even know like what the point of the whole video was, because all he did was do what that lady said, like dig himself a bigger hole.
Mm.
And but yeah, I watched it, and at first I was kind of prepared to like listen to like hear him out and like really like, oh, maybe this is just some crazy people overreacting, right? And no, no,
No.
there's no overreacting. Like there really
Yeah.
isn't. What he did was insane, and he goes on there all nonchalantly, like whatever.
Yeah.
Like
It
you
was
either have to
crazy
be
to
really
me.
stupid or a narcissist to do that, like one or the other. And I don't think Lloyd is stupid.
No, he's clearly an intelligent person.
He's intelligent, but he's not emotionally intelligent.
Yeah, well, that's obvious because he would have known how he was hurting the people around him every day by his fucked up actions, words and actions, by the way.
Coming on to YouTube to say the things he did, like my God, like if I was his wife, because he even said, my wife told me not to say it, to speak as little of her as possible. And it's like he's almost resenting that he can't talk more about her. Like it's like he's almost like, I wish I could say why I do what I do or some shit. And I was like, you are such a jackass. Like, man, you did all this to your wife, and you're like, I promised Dion I wouldn't say anything. And he keeps
Mm,
bringing it up, like, oh, like
yeah,
it's
he
just
did say that
bothering him
several
so
times.
much. Like it's bothering him that he can't talk about his wife more. And it's like, why would she want to be talked about? Like she's been humiliated enough by all of this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what could you possibly say except, I'm so sorry? Like, and there'd be nothing else you could say. Like, that's the least he should have said. And he didn't say, I'm so sorry. I don't think he actually said the words, I'm sorry. Did he ever say that?
Okay, so when he did his I'm back video, he said that to his family he is sorry, but he has not apologized to the community though for anything.
If he was so sorry to his family, then he went about his first video horribly wrong.
Right, no, I agree.
He's not. He's just full of crap, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
And by the way, the community also deserves an apology though because that was all crowdfunded. His
yeah.
little sex vacations, little Lloyd's escapades,
And
they
now the
were
litigation.
crowdfunded. What'd you say?
Now the litigation.
Oh yes, you're right. Now the solicitation, the litigation, it's also crowdfunded. All that's what your money's paying for, people.
You're just literally like another, you're falling back into the same kind of thing as Watchtower. Like Lloyd literally took their business model and just copied it and just made it the anti JW, but like he just copied their business model exactly. He started like with the publishing and like the videos and like branding, and he went hardcore into their like thing. And even now he's trying to use crowd funds to like litigate against his people who are coming after him. Like it's insane, but it's just the same as the Watchtower.
Couldn't say it any better myself. Do we want to end it here? Are we good? You got anything else?
I think that's good.
Megan, thank you for blessing my channel with your radiance. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me.
Hateful slave. Out.